甲亢姐在节目中直言，贝森特跟李成刚吵架又吵输了。甲亢姐还透露谈判内容，称美国不但承诺不再对华加征100%的关税，而且还放宽芯片出口，而中国的回报几乎是微乎其微的。中国并没有做出任何重大的让步，只是答应推迟对美国稀土管制和答应购买大豆。另外还有洋豆的事儿啊，就是美国想掌握其在美国所有的业务。关于这个事儿呢，已经是谈了1年了，也已经被批准延期，已经共4次了。可这次谈判是依然没有给出具体的时间，所以呢，总结下来就是中国赢了。咱们一起听听甲亢姐是怎么说的吧。
The framework successful, but when you go through the fine print, you see a different story. Trump's tactics are shifting from maximum pressure to a manageable compromise. He started this trade war and he's the one making a retreat. The US-China trade war seems to be heading for another pause. Donald Trump is in Asia. He's set to meet Xi Jinping on Thursday. Ahead of that meeting, American and Chinese officials met in Malaysia. This was on the sidelines of the ASEAN summit. Trump was there too, but he did not attend this meeting. It was his Treasury Secretary who took the lead. And what was the outcome? Well, there's no deal yet. All they have for now is a framework, a temporary truce of sorts, and an agreement to keep talking.
A successful framework for the leaders to discuss on Thursday. We discussed trade, rare earths, the fentanyl, TikToks, and the overall relationship between the two countries.
That was Scott Bessent. He is the US Treasury Secretary. He's leading the negotiations for America. He calls the framework successful. But when you go through the fine print, you see a different story. The US is quietly stepping back from many of its hardline positions. Number one, the threat of higher tariffs is gone. Trump wanted to raise tariffs on China. He threatened an additional 100% tariff. Trump wanted to punish China for restricting rare earth supplies to the US. And this has been a contentious issue. The rare earths. China has been using rare earths as leverage. It has restricted supplies to the United States. Beijing even cracked down on secondary supplies. It reached out to countries like India. China asked countries like India for a guarantee that they won't buy from Beijing and ship those supplies to the US. Obviously, Trump did not take this kindly. He threatened a fresh round of tariffs. They were supposed to kick in on the 1st of November, but now they're off the table, at least for the moment. So that's the first concession from the US. Trump will not impose more tariffs. What about the existing trade curbs? That's where Washington made its second concession. It may ease some of the chip exports to Beijing. There's no official communication on this yet, but American officials have been dropping hints. They say they have found a way to balance the trade deficit with China. How? By selling more goods from the US. So those are the two concessions from the United States of America. They're going easy on the tariffs and they may lift some export curbs. What is the US getting in return? Not much. China has not made any significant climb down. For instance, on rare earths, China has curbed supplies to the US like we just mentioned. It has now agreed to delay the curbs. So at best, it's a pause. It's not an assured relief. Second, China promised to buy more soybean from the US. Now, this is politically significant for President Trump. His key constituencies are farming states, states like Iowa, Illinois, and Indiana. They are key vote banks for Trump. They produce soybean. China was their biggest buyer. When China stopped buying, it hurt these states. Now Beijing could resume, but again, there's a catch. China has made this promise before, a promise it did not keep. So the US would be wary. Apart from rare earths and soybean, there's also the deal on TikTok. Trump wants it to be American-owned. He wants TikTok in American hands. His team says a final agreement will be consummated this week. That means a formal transfer of TikTok's US operations to an American-controlled entity. But even this deal has been dragging on for months. TikTok is facing a ban in the United States. They have been given an extension 4 times. They have time till December to transfer operations. And I guess that's the biggest problem with this framework. Nothing is set in stone. There are no deadlines, there are no clear commitments, and the language is vague. But Trump, being Trump, is calling it a win. Listen in.
We have China coming, and it's going to be very interesting. we are going to, I think we're going to come away with a deal, but I really feel good. Our country is doing so well economically.
China's reaction is also worth noting. They've issued a vague statement. It says, and I quote, both negotiating teams reached a basic consensus on arrangements to address their respective concerns. I guess they're being careful. They're waiting to see what happens on Thursday. That's when. Also, this so-called truce has a fundamental problem. It does not resolve the core issues. The rebalancing of trade ties, the national security concerns, and Trump's grand plans to reset the world's supply chains. This framework addresses none of those issues. It fails to lay out the path ahead. Meanwhile, Trump's tactics are shifting from maximum pressure to a manageable compromise. He started this trade war, and he's the one making a retreat.
确实还真是这样，因为中国的稀土卖给谁不是卖，反正生产出来就是要卖的。而大豆呢，买谁的不是买，反正都要买。而且前一阵子巴西一看中美又斗起来了，100%的关税打下去，中国肯定不会再买美国的大豆了。那我发财的机会不就来了吗？说到这里，还真是觉得巴西你是来搞笑的吗？谁能想到巴西这家伙真是想钱想疯了，直接坐地起价，涨幅甚至高达将近80%，好吧。刚好跟美国这边已经谈拢了，正愁不知道怎么办才好，这不就是在给龙哥找不买的理由吗？毕竟除了美国，龙哥还可以找阿根廷、找加拿大买呀。你巴西的大豆是镶金边的吗？那么贵，还是留给他们自己吃吧。甲亢姐说话也是够直接的，她对这次中美谈判的总结就是：美国作为贸易战的发起者，可到最后却是那个各种妥协的人，一点好处没捞着。感觉甲亢姐怎么一改往日，抓住机会就对我们是各种的黑，而现在竟然胳膊肘也往我们这边开始拐了。最有意思的是，贝森特和李成刚可不是第一次见面了。来听一下贝森特之前是怎么形容李成刚的。
has gone rogue. Perhaps he's gone rogue. This individual was very disrespectful, and I'll tell you that we've had 4 rounds of talks: Geneva, London, Stockholm, and Madrid, and both sides approached them with great respect.And this individual did not.
是不是感觉贝森特就像一只无辜的小麻雀，而李成刚就是那个强势的恶霸？所以你想呀，这次马来西亚的谈判，贝森特最怕看到的肯定就是李成刚了。可结果门一推，发现又是他啊！贝森特当时整个人都懵了，这还没谈呢，气儿就泄了一半。这下就能解释得通，为什么大家都发现贝森特谈完之后接受采访时，整个人说话就显得那么别扭不自然，把中国形容的跟恶霸一样，也不是第一次了。
China's the trade aggressor, trying to control global supply chain.
And you face the blackmailer head on. You just have to punch that blackmailer in the gut.
听起来是不是觉得特别的讽刺？怎么感觉在抢我们的词？恶霸一直都是我们来形容让中国饱受屈辱的西方列强，可世界第一强国的美国反倒指着中国说你才是恶霸。贝森特倒成了被李成刚欺负的那个弱者了，这角色的对调何其讽刺。